Hello, gentle viewers. This is Indian with a somewhat surprising series beginning. For those of you who are following my Surviving Mars series, don't worry, it will be coming back. But we're waiting for the release of the new update, which is called Curiosity, which adds a lot of cool quality of life that, to be quite frank, after I learned about these quality of life improvements, I can't play the game without them. And so, I've been waiting for a time to bring Orwell Ignorance is Strength to the channel, and this is the perfect time to do it. Those of you who followed the channel previously know that I've already played through Orwell once. And we're going to be playing a version of Orwell, the sequel, Orwell or Ignorance is Strength, with the decisions we made as the other of Indian, which finished the first season of the campaign, if you will. And so we're going to go ahead. Been selected for duty. I expected that would happen. So none of these actually look like me very much. So I'm just going to pick the person who looks the least like me. This one. And we'll pick the name of Indian. I'm not going to put in my email address. And I love this. I'm willing to severely affect the lives of citizens and non-citizens of the nation. I will do whatever necessary to keep the nation from harm. And while working, I'll only adhere to the statutes and principles of the office. I agree. So you've got a couple of ways you can play Orwell Ignorance is Strength. If you haven't played the first game, you can simply click None, and the events from the previous game will unfold randomly, because the games actually take place at the same time, which is a really weird story technique, but I love it. I think it's really good. We're going to pair ourselves with the previous of Indian, and we'll see how that works out for us. So I have to complete a set of tasks. Alright. Oh my god, it knows my operating system. I want to make the nation a safer place. I want to be a pioneer in the most advanced security program. Let's try to be, I think this version of Avindian, despite her unconventional appearance, is very much, yeah, I believe in the system. This is actually a very clever way to introduce this. I love this so much. Who most likely committed a crime? This guy's haircut's kind of shifty. And you can pick more than one if you want to. Wait, maybe they've all committed crimes. Maybe that's the trick. They all look kind of shifty to me. This one's wearing glasses. You can't trust people with glasses. I know that because I wear glasses. Next up. I don't believe any of these statements are true. I'd rather have my dating profile investigated. This is actually, by the way, a very subtle tutorial for the game and the way it works. We already kind of know what we're doing since I played the first game, but that's really the purpose behind this. I would give all of it. Sexual orientation, sure. I mean, if you're gonna have my dating profile, you might as well have everything, right? She is an open book, is this of Indian. I will do nothing. So we can either ask them to redo the test. No, they reflect my honest opinions. I accept the disqualification.
Hello, O'Brien.
But you get in anyway.
I have to disappoint you.
What? Raban, what? How? After all this time? I didn't think you'd...
Remember what you did? Again, I must disappoint you. I have not been blessed with a short memory.
What? Raban, listen. It wasn't me. I don't know anything about what happened there. That's the truth.
Truth. See, I never had much regard for the Bible, but there's one remarkable, groundbreaking moment. Before being sentenced to death, Jesus goes on and on about being a witness for the truth. But Pilate defies him with the simplest of all questions. What is truth? It is this particular question I've been pondering over for a very long time now. How much of the information ending up on our screens every single day has passed through so many other minds before, each one with their own bias and agenda. It is all cut down to size, proportioned, ready to be consumed. And yet we greedily swallow it all in blissful ignorance, because our hunger is unending.
Stop the nonsense and get to the point. What do you want?
To ask you a question. What is truth?
I don't understand.
Now you're the disappointing one. You of all people should, Oleg Bakay. There is only one thing about truth that is certain. Truth is dead. As you soon will be.
What? Why? You? How did you manage? How? Vart! Vart!
I love the opening. It's really tremendous. By the way, for those of you who want to play the game on your own, you actually can't fail that test. I think it's actually... I'm sorry, you can't actually pass the test, I don't believe. Maybe you can. So this season is divided into 3 episodes, and each one of the videos will cover this. You would accept disqualification just like that. You are either downright stupid, or you are very loyal towards us. You might be exactly whom I need. My name is Ampleford. That's a ridiculous name, Ampleford. I'm part of a special division with the government, the office. We get called in for the delicate matters. A man named Oleg Bakay disappeared a couple of days ago. The last we heard of him was the call I just played to you. I've added a transcript of that dialogue to your reader tool. You can read it again and listen to the recording. Once you're done, open the unknown person profile on the left. And there we go. So as a quick introduction for those of you who haven't played the original Orwell, the Orwell games are basically almost like the old point-and-click adventure games, and that you're trying to basically solve a mystery. And you use the tools at your disposal, you use information, you unlock more information, and ultimately you make a fundamental choice about the game. I'm not going to tell you what choices I made the first time I played through this game. I'll simply tell you... I won't tell you what choices I made until the very end of the last video. Because there are multiple endings to each of these games. If you haven't watched the first series, you might want to take a moment to pause and watch the first series. I'll give you an idea of how the game is and how it works. The games play very, very similarly, with one exception, which will be unlocked in Episode 3, which is the Influencer, which is a really cool addition to the game. I really like it. Beyond that, I think the best way to show you is to play. If you have watched my previous series, you will notice the changes I made in the previous series will actually pop up as we play, which is really cool. It's a really nice touch I didn't expect when I purchased the second edition. Okay, so we've already read it through again. Raban Vart, very close to fart. I don't know if that was intentional. But yeah, so let's click on Unknown Person. The other reason to be paired with an investigator is it'll actually skip you through a lot of the tutorial stuff. So if at any point during this video or any of the subsequent videos I do something you're like, hey, why are you doing that? What is that about? Just drop me a comment down below and I'll be happy to explain it. So, we need to find everything we can about this Oleg Bakay guy. And I've got to look for other transcripts. Okay, this is clearly a death threat. Or so it seems. We'll look at the National Beholder here in a moment. Let's look for any other data chunks in this that there might be. Okay, there isn't any. So we click here, and we look here. Alright, so right away we have some information about him that we didn't have before. We know he's an army in Pargesia. Or Pargis, sorry. We've got a lovely picture for him. Now, each time we finish a data chunk, 10 minutes of the day go by. That's more important in the last episode especially, or when there's a clear time limit. So this will tell us about Raban Fart. Even I just almost said fart. God damn it. Anything else in here that we know of? No. I'm going to very quickly go through the rest of this, because there should be... So, for those of you who didn't play the first game, this is the beginning of the first game. There's a bomb that detonates. And so we won't actually explore these very much. I'm just going to show these to you. This is mostly just so it doesn't say we have unread stuff. 100 gray shadows. A gray shadow and another gray shadow. Such rhubarb productions that decline the rumors and claim to be speculation. Oh dear. Oh dear. Right. TNB. So now we're gonna look on his army record. He's a captain, which is good to know, means he's a high-ranking officer. So as we're doing things, other events will happen. From the previous game. His call sign might be useful to us. And then we'll look at the database. We need to know where else he is, his affiliation. And then finally, we're going to go ahead and grab this data chunk too. Okay, so there's something else in his file. There's other pages. So we click Welcome and History. And so here's where we learn about the Civil War. There's a hate group, the FTP. And the guerrilla war still happens. The incident of 2008. Let's search. So, we need to know his call sign, which we actually already know. Janice. And then we get a search. We have his date of birth, which is always very helpful. We know he's Pargesian. But here's what's most important. He's a confidential informant. And so we'll look after Raban Vart here in a moment, but we have other information as well. We've got his cell phone ID, which we can use to check his phone. And we know this interesting information about how he chooses his passwords. Let's look at his desktop. So since I played before, I actually know what his actual password is, but we have to discover that in game. So for right now, we don't have enough information. Let's go ahead and learn some more information. Okay, so let's switch over to the other person of interest, Raban Vart. And we know he's the editor-in-chief of a blog called The People's Voice. So I'm skipping some of the stuff relatively quickly just so that the episodes don't take too long. But I will start reading things a little bit more as we get through the game. Right now, this is just introductory information. And if you missed what she said, and you don't want to go back and watch the video, basically, we need to find out what's going on with Raban Vart and what his connection to Bakay is. We can always click on here, which tells us what our objectives are. So we need to find out what their connection is, find out where Bakay is, and get into his phone. So, let's go back. And then we get access to his blog, The People's Voice. Okay. So one of the big themes of Orwell, Ignorance is Strength, which is actually a line from the 1984 book, 1984. I don't know why I couldn't remember the title of the book named 1984. Anyway, it was actually published in 1948 anyway. One of the theories here is that people are lying. It's about fake news, but not in the Donald Trump sense, in the sense that media is purposely being driven and drawn in and created in certain ways to make people believe certain things. And this is one of those things. So we learn how he's being donated. So we have to find out what he's using the donations for. We have his email address, which is always handy. And so now I'll find out anytime he sends an email. Note, by the way, lead editor Ilya Vart. Interesting, no? Let's get a picture of the guy. So here's an example. Pargus is the president, Cassart is president of Pargus. And he believes that he's being controlled by the nation. So we're going to learn first of all about his Blabber account, which is his Twitter account, and then we'll get some information from there. And Vart believes that Cassart is controlled by the nation. And before we continue on to his Blabber, we're just going to go and keep reading The People's Voice. Again, here, he blames Blaine, the president of the nation, for the explosions. So, if you didn't catch what just happened there, so he's using some of his money. Ooh, we get more from the TNB. Okay, that's neat. Headlines. Safety bill. And this gets us to the party's website. There's a lot of stuff in here that's really interesting if you haven't played the first game. So I recommend you take a few moments and go through that. But we're not quite done yet, because we have to keep looking through The People's Voice. And so he's actually trying to calm things down in the nation, which might seem a little bit strange. Up here you go. Oh, please, please. I remember asking explicitly not to give me any misinformation to work with. Does it look legitimate? Oh dear, she's pretty angry at me. Let's look at his email. So someone named David is a supporter of the cause. And Raban here expects something to happen at some point in the near future. So let's check Blabber. Interesting. So here we get two contradictory... So he says he's not happy that he's gone missing, but then he says he won't be missed. So this is him trying to basically walk back, it looks like, what he said earlier. He says he won't be missed, and he's like, he's not happy that he's gone missing. So we have a couple of ways that we can postulate this to ourselves in our mind. Either he was lying, and he's just trying to walk back what he said so his people on Blabber won't get angry at him, or he genuinely has a connection to Bacay. Now, I'm inclined to believe at this point, based on the information we know about Vart, and the fact that he did qualify it this same day, I think we're going to go ahead and say that he's not happy about it. We're going to assume that there's a connection there. And you notice our person gets pretty angry about it. He doesn't like mainstream media. Dictator's Guide to Supreme Rule. Okay. We don't know anything else about Blabber, but we did get more information. Pargus peacekeeping mission. We're just going to quickly click on the rest of the things here. That's how you can help the party. Robert Blaine, Catherine Delacroix, Peter Faulkner. And what they believe is important. All that matters now was that it shouldn't show as unread. Interesting. So here we go. Proof that despite what she thinks, Raban Vart mixes truth and lies adeptly to trick people, take whatever approaches with a grain of salt, as are typically few truths. Be very, very careful when dealing with him. Listener just popped up. Did he get another email? Our support of your blog. Up, the Angel of the Nation. See, this is one of the ways that you can see how the game is affecting other parts of the game. They just lost their money because they think he might be using the money to encourage the riots. Alright. So he's saying that Bacay went to the Nation to find work. So now we've got people getting angry about what he said. Okay, that's a link to the National Beholder. There's other information on here. Okay. So now we know that Bacay has a daughter. So we need to know why Vart is making this threat, if it is a threat. Or whether what he said was simply taken out of context. So we'll come back to this. We need to find out what's going on there. Okay, so now we learn a little bit more about his brother, Ilya. So Vart used to live. He can't walk. find out how it happened. And so this lets us go back and we get to learn more about that there's refugees from Pargis as a result of the Pargis Civil War arriving in the nation. And people think there's a likelihood of increased terrorist attacks. Let's check his medical records. So we learned some very important things. First of all, we know his date of birth. So he's about 45. Not quite 45, sorry. And we know where he is. Both of which is very good to know. Although this is a refugee camp, and they believe, our boss believes that's not very likely. And so here we see how he got his injuries. Because a school building was blown up. And so he's got himself a wheelchair. He's like Professor X almost, except without the ability to control people's thoughts. Or so it seems. So this is from the city of Prava, which is a capital of Pargis. For those of you who don't know, there's a very strong East European vibe on Orwell. And although Pargis and the nation are both considered fictional, it's very clear that Pargis is intended to be somewhere in, say, Serbia or Kosovo or Croatia. For example, Vojvodina is actually, it's a Slavic word. Voyevode literally means like war leader, but in reality it's a term used to indicate governorship. There's some places led by a military governor. And so there's some information, town hall, lovely information that's not terribly crucial. And so we need to check the actual discussion here. Oh no, we can't do that. We need... Where'd it go? This thread here. So this is from quite some time ago. This is before Raban left, because we know he left in 2000 or something. And so this is from the mayor, and the mayor says, hey look, the army is trying to protect people from this terrorist group, the FTP. She's worried. So Robin Vart was the school's principal. The very same school that went kaboom. And we'll look at that here in a moment. We'll see if there's any other information here. Okay. So here Bakay is saying he never wants to go to the nation, which is, we obviously know isn't true. Because he did go to the nation. This is bad news for him. He's openly saying he agrees with these terrorists. Now we learn a very important piece of information. The name of Bakay's daughter, which we didn't know before. And so here we see, again, as we suspected earlier, I'm also trying not to project the fact I played the game before and I know certain facts. But here we do get confirmation here. Robin says that Oleg is actually, it looks like they're friends. He says Robin is a good person and a good teacher. So let's crack into his phone here in just a minute. Okay, so we know he left for the nation, because he did. I don't necessarily believe he went there to find work, but we know he went there. So we know why he likes the nation. And this should mean there are no further data chunks on here. There's Ilya. And we can see the giraffes. So that's all good stuff to know. So there's clearly something on here we're supposed to recognize, but we just don't have it yet. We'll find that out later on. Let's go to the news here. So, we know that Raban, as the principal, asked the army to come in to help protect the children. And now they're putting a bomb shelter in the school. Okay, we just got a bunch of information. And so this is this actually being finished here. And so this is from way back when. Here he's saying that Raban was a hero. Okay. So here's some interesting information. We learned when Vart was injured and what caused it, which is the explosion. We're going to come back to this because there's some other unknown data chunk. So we say this is why he's crippled. But there might be another reason he isn't, so we'll need to come back to it. So he's saying the bombing of his school, which was by the military. And here we're saying the FTP caused the attack. Now, we don't really know which of these is true. So we'll have to dig for some more information in other places. And here we know that he thinks Vart is responsible for it. And here's the most important piece of information that's on here. He thinks that his daughter was absent, so we need to see if that's actually true. The National Beholder says it's actually the FTP that hit it. So let's see here. So he taught English and philosophy. We're going to go and disable this picture. I like this picture better. It's like, "Rrrr," as I strangle somebody. And there's some other teachers there. So the news is in here. Mission. Alright. So we want to know who was at the school on the day of the attack. So I need to find the date of the attack, which might be under Oleg's profile. We might actually have to go back and grab the date, which I'm pretty sure is in the National Beholder. So the thing is, I can't actually just enter in December 7th, 2010, even though I know that's when that happened. Why is it saying we don't have the date for that? So I can't just type the date in. I need proof that the attack was that day. Which should be in Robin's account, but we'll take a quick peek here, and if we can't find it here, we'll just move on. Here we go. December 6, 2010. And here we have direct, irrefutable proof. His daughter was at the school. Which you remember. So there you go. He wouldn't want to hurt his own daughter, So, based on this information, I think we can safely conclude, based on what we know, that it was the FTP that caused the attack, because there's no way an army officer would let his own daughter get hurt. Based on what we know about Bakay, we don't think that's very likely. So we need to find the missing data chunk. Yeah, I'm gonna say that's the FTP that caused the attack, and he just doesn't want to admit it for whatever reason. It's an interesting question, isn't it? Most importantly, we know the name of Oleg's daughter, Rodka. So let's go ahead and get into his phone. We now have Robin's phone number. We're gonna archive the... Oh, no, actually, we'll listen. This will give me a chance to take a moment. Can listen to the phone call.
Karen, my love.
Hey.
Having a good day?
Yeah. So far so good. I called to tell you I'll be home late today. I'm sorry.
Again? They don't pay you enough for all the time you give them.
It's not about payment, and you know that. These people rely on me. They need me.
Yeah? Well, I need my wife at home with me some of the time. Am I asking for too much?
Raban, not so long ago you were among them. You have been in their position.
Yes, I know that. So was Ilya, so were the others. Yet none of us were national soldiers responsible for invading and ravaging countries. If it weren't for them driving refugees out in the first place, why, we wouldn't need these camps.
This again? We talked about this multiple times.
I'm well aware that this extra time you spend there is for her, isn't it?
Raban, she is... I'm worried, that's all. She's more reclusive now than ever. Something isn't right.
One more reason to avoid her.
You want me to cherry pick who deserves my assistance and who doesn't? All people get the same treatment, the same attention. That's my mandate. I thought you loved that about me.
I do. You're right. Of course you are. You always are. I'm sorry.
It's okay. So, are you good with me getting home late tonight then?
I am.
Thank you.
I will be waiting for you.
No, don't wait. It might get late.
Well, I can hardly go anywhere else.
You shouldn't say things like that. Anyway, I'll talk to you later.
See you.
So this is the first conversation with his wife. Oh, you're so witty and clever, Ampliford. Oh, you'll notice there was information here. There was a second explosion at Stelligan University. And so here we learn a little interesting information about where he met his wife. She was a social worker. By the way, it's actually not at all unusual for that to happen. For people to fall in love with people to take care of them. And now Robin's calling his brother.
Ilyavat speaking.
Brother.
Oh, hey, Raban. I didn't expect you to call. I'm getting ready for work. I have no idea what's going on with the donations. I swear they were working, and I haven't changed anything in the back end.
Forget the donations. I need your abilities as my co-writer. You must write me an article.
Right now, is it important?
It is.
What do you want me to write about?
There has been a second assault in Bonton. at Stelligan University.
Another one? Oh, wow. They really have got a situation here, don't they?
We need to cover it. Draw attention to how the government is failing its people.
I'm not quite sure if I'll be able to pull it off at work. I feel like they're watching me already.
Do you stand with me, brother? Or has the nation's corruption and wealth finally swayed your sympathies?
Raban, I stand with you. I've told you this.
Then I have faith in you, brother.
Are you preparing a statement about these threats? This has to stop. Are you gonna say something?
Yes.
Ah, great. Finally.
And it is going to be the most remarkable statement I have ever made. The destruction of the cooperation between Cassett and Blaine.
Destruction? How?
Patience, brother. It won't be long now. Take care of the article.
Okay, I will do my best to get it done for you. Give me about an hour for the draft. I'll put it in the back end.
Good. I'll be waiting. Until later.
Yeah. Until then.
Okay, our first conversation with Ilya, his brother. And so well, now we know what his goal is. Why disarrayed indeed. And we don't have any other information from this conversation, so we'll go ahead and go back to other information we have. Specifically, let's go back to Oleg's desktop. Alright. So Oleg got a couple of text messages, and he believes that Raban Vard exposed him, and that's why he went into hiding. Here's a photograph. Here's some books. Okay, this tells us where he was as of the last 24 hours. Alright, so there's nothing else on his phone that we can learn. Okay. So we already know his date of birth. We have a social security number. That might be useful. We can maybe look up some more information about him. We now know when he entered, when he immigrated. But we also know something even more important. We have access to his computer. So here's the draft. And we don't know much more about it than just the draft. That picture's not very good. That suggests it might have something to do with it. A good piece of advice for playing this game, you always want to go straight to the trash. And so now we learned some very interesting information. First of all, we learned Oleg's phone number, which I think we already knew. And so here we go. This is how his cover got blown. Okay, so it's 6:30, and we're gonna go try to collect Bouquet. So we have no indication Bouquet is disloyal. There might actually be information like that, but one of the things that makes this game wonderful and makes replaying it so great is that you learn different things each time, and you can't possibly learn everything in a given playthrough.
Echo 1 reporting. Come in, Command.
Commander's reading you.
We have arrived at the designated location.
What is it like?
Sorry, Command. I don't quite follow.
The location? Tell me what you see.
Looks like ruins of a school that has been hit by a large explosive. Possibly an airstrike. Maybe artillery fire.
Huh. Can you traverse the ruins?
Affirmative. But the damage is catastrophic. Are you sure the target is around?
Absolutely. Move in and keep me posted at all times. Describe to me everything you see.
Understood. Echo Squad, move in. Entering primary hallway now. The hallway has been severely damaged. You can see the sky right through multiple stories. Some parts are completely caved in. Proceed with caution, Echo Squad. The damage definitely originated some time ago. There's vegetation spreading all over the place. There are some adjacent rooms that seem rather intact. Echo 2, Echo 4, clear them. Rooms are clear. Lots of bags lying around. There were still some geometrical drawings on the chalkboard. The place was clearly left in a hurry. Moving into the next corridor. There's... Oh, shit!
What is it?
Part of the ceiling gave way. Nearly hit one of our operatives. Status, Echo Squad. Dust off.
Ugh. Can you proceed?
Affirmative.
Do it.
Roger. Moving on now.
Status?
All clear. No traces of the target. Some doors are blocked by debris, but there's zero chance they have been opened recently.
Listen, I need you to find the target person. He is around.
There's a basement stairwell that we haven't checked yet. Moving there now. Watch your corners, Echo Squad. Not much left here either. The projectile went right through half the building like a hot knife through butter. Hate to say it, but we may be out of luck. Wait, found something. There's a hatch leading further down. Looks used recently.
Finally, proceed.
Affirmative. This is the school's library, still intact. Someone put a lot of effort into turning this into some sort of autonomous bomb shelter. And they succeeded. Even the power is still on. From what I can tell, this thing even has working surveillance cams on the walls.
Huh. Peculiar. Maybe Bouquet is able to use them. Proceed with caution.
Definitely wouldn't want to. Movement! Get down! Get down! Echo Squad, contain the target!
It's the target. It has to be.
Oleg Bouquet, we know you're here. There is no way out of this shelter. Throw your weapons into the middle of the room and come out from your position with your hands on your head. Visual on target. Identity confirmed. It is Oleg Bouquet. Your order.
Bouquet did not betray our secrets. He is too valuable and must be retrieved alive. Is that understood?
Roger. Get down and put your palms flat on the ground in front of you. I said get down! Oleg Bouquet, surrender and lie down. Now!
Report in.
Target cooperative. We got him. Oleg Bouquet is in custody.
Very well. Mission accomplished. Make sure the area is secure, then disengage.
Understood. Echo Squad, move out!
Okay.
My dear followers, yes, this is exactly what you think it is. I found Oleg Bakay. What you see before you is an image obtained from a surveillance camera feed from the ruins of my old school, showing him among soldiers of the nation. These highly trained professionals arrested him, a soldier in service of the Pagesian army, while he was hiding away from them. The true nature of the national government is laid bare before you. Through their propaganda machine called the National Beholder, they dared to make their false allegations against me and the people's voice as a whole. They claimed I'd be responsible for Bakay's disappearance, when it was them all along. But when President Kassat and Prime Minister Blaine are such close friends, why would they arrest a fellow soldier, you might ask? Oleg Bakay was the person responsible for the attack on Prava Secondary, the school I have been principal of a long time ago. And they knew it. They knew the moment he disappeared, the blame was on me, to shut me up once and for all. But the people's voice cannot be silenced. So what is there to do for you, my dear followers, against the oppressive force of the national government and the Kassat regime? Do not listen to their corrupt and manipulative media outlets. Do not fail to remind Kassat what has transpired here today. Do not let them sweep this under the carpet, to pass the buck, to influence you with such outrageously false information, to make people vanish, to manipulate your thoughts. Or you may be next. Stand up for your rights and resist Kassat. Resist Blaine. Let's retake our country from President Puppet.
And so there we go. So, we have an option at this point in the game. We can end the episode by clicking here. By showing the episode of the game, not the episode of the series. Or we can do some more research. And so we have all of this. And there's some more stuff here. More on arrival. Okay. Operation Flying Dog. So this offers an... We have an interesting piece of information here. You can use this as a way to send information up to Percoleaks. So this is about official operations sanctioned by the nation. All their upvotes will be rejected. And so we don't have anything like that now. But it does offer a different way to deal with the game. So we're going to quickly make sure there's no additional information we missed anywhere else. We didn't finish with his desktop, did we? So we know he used to be a rugby coach, which means he's a pretty athletic guy. Rugby's not an easy sport. Here's his camera pictures from not too long before. He actually saw Bakay reading. We have photographic evidence that he's talked to Bakay, so we'll go ahead and share this information. That's not necessarily evidence of disloyalty, but it is something we might need to consider and as we continue the investigation. So here we have proof that he checked on yeah, we're just going to click on all these different things here just so we make sure that other things don't happen. For someone who doesn't like the National Beholder, he certainly goes there quite often, doesn't he? And again, here's more evidence that Bakay and Vart were friends at one point. So this is Karen, this is Ilya, and that must be, what's his face? And I like the picture we've got of him now. Okay. His PC's been searched. We've got all the information we could possibly get from one day. Or so it would appear. And we just know there's no pending article. Okay, so this is where we will end the episode. So we go ahead and click here. Yes. And so this is the information that we gained over the course of the first day. Okay. I love the theme song to Orwell. And so this is what we've learned. We learned about the missing agent, what happened, we found him, he was taken alive. Learned what we learned about Raban, learned what we learned about Oleg. I'm sure there's going to be more. But that will end this particular episode, which I hope you have enjoyed. So each video will just run until the day is over with. So some videos might be longer than an hour, so some might be less than an hour too. Depends entirely on how long the episodes are. I'm almost confident the third episode will be the longest, but I don't recall exactly. So I hope you've enjoyed. Please remember to like and subscribe and comment down below. Again, never fear, Surviving Mars will return to the channel. But for now, I thought this would be a great time to take a look at a game I really enjoy. And give me a chance, frankly, to play it again and make some different choices than I made the first time. Until next time, this has been Avindian. Thank you for watching, and I bid you good day.